Hey guys, this is Steli Efti with Close.io. I'm still in Europe traveling, visiting startups, but I wanted to make this quick video because yesterday somebody at a startup event that I gave a talk asked me how I first showed up in Silicon Valley with having no context, nobody, and nothing about the industry, and how I got my start in the Valley and how I got my start in the US coming from Europe. And it's a perfect story that I've actually never shared on video publicly that I thought will illustrate my showing up philosophy as the very first foundational step to the hustle. So, if you've ever heard me speak before, you know I truly believe in the startup hustle and the entrepreneurial power that the hustle gives you. And the formula to succeeding and crushing it in the hustle is simple to me. You have to show up, you have to follow up and follow through, you have to go for the close. It's as simple as that. Now, showing up in my world is only 20% of winning. 80% is really in the follow up and follow through. But showing up is actually the foundation to winning. If you don't show up, there's nobody that you could ever follow up with or follow through with, and there's nobody to close. So you have to show up. It's the foundation that you can build your hustling success on. Now, let me tell you the story of me showing up in Silicon Valley because I think it illustrates brilliantly how you can create opportunities by going where nobody wants to go and doing things that are slightly uncomfortable to you at first. So, it's 2007, almost 8 years ago. I sold everything I had to buy a one-way ticket to San Francisco from Europe, and I arrive at SFO, San Francisco Airport, and I know nobody and nothing about the industry. I am as non-technical as you can be, and I'm there to become a tech entrepreneur and to build a massive success in Silicon Valley. At the airport, I actually stopped somebody and asked them, hey, can you help me? Can you tell me how to get to Silicon Valley? Now, for people who know a little bit about the Valley, they know it's an area described that it's not a city or something like that. It's like asking, hey, how can I get to the south of France, right? So the person looked at me and went, Silicon Valley, do you mean Palo Alto, Stanford? And I went, Stanford, I know that, I recognize that name, yes, tell me how to get there. So here's what happens next. That friendly person puts me on the call train down south to Palo Alto. Now, there's 2 stops in Palo Alto when you take the Caltrain from SF Airport. One is on California Avenue, and the other one is on University Avenue. If you've ever been there, you know University Avenue is actually where you want to be. It's where downtown Palo Alto is. California Avenue, not so much, but California Avenue came before University Avenue. It had California in its name, so it appeared to be the right stop for me to get out of the train. And that's what I did. I really went out of the train on California Avenue. I started walking down California Avenue, and eventually I see this hotel on one corner that says Hotel California. And I go, that must be a sign, right? I've listened to the song. I recognize that name. California is where I want to be. I'm going to check in. Here's what happened next. I check in. It's about 3 p.m. I take a shower. I put out all my stuff. I set up my office in this new hotel. Exciting, finally I'm in the US. A new adventure is about to start for me. And now there's this little voice in my head. It's what I call the little asshole voice. And it tells me, you know what, Steli? Take it easy today. It's your first day in the US. You might have a jet lag. Why don't you just relax? Maybe you watch a movie, answer some emails, just rest. And then tomorrow you can figure out how to get started in your adventure in the US and in the Valley. And then, thankfully, there was another voice that told that asshole voice to shut the fuck up and said, you know what, this is crazy. It's your first day in the US. You're not going to just sit around in a shitty hotel room. You're not just going to sit around in a small room by yourself watching a movie. This is crazy. Go out there and meet people and do shit. And that's what I did. I went online and I went to meetup.com and I tried to see if there's any kind of an event or place where I could go to meet people, make new friends. Finally, I see that there's a thing called a geek dinner in San Francisco, and I'm like, that's awesome. Let's go to San Francisco. Geek dinner sounds about right. Let's make some geek friends, right? I take the train. First, I took it the wrong direction from Palo Alto down to San Jose, and then I had to take a new train up into the city, into San Francisco. Finally, I make it to that dinner. I sit down, I talk to a bunch of people, and eventually I sit next to Robert Scoble. And Robert Scoble, big, famous blogger, really influential in Silicon Valley. Eventually, he turned around and he asked me what I do there. And I tell him, you know what? This is my first day in the US. I sold everything I had. I bought a one-way ticket. I want to be an entrepreneur here. I know nobody and nothing about this industry. I'm so excited, right? And he tells me, you know what? This is such a cool story. Give me a call tomorrow. Let's chat. He leaves. The next day, I'm in my hotel room. I have his number. I'm like, I'm going to call Robert Scoble. I'm all nervous. Pick up the phone. I call him. He picks up. He's like, yeah, this is Robert. I'm like, hey, Robert, this is Stelly from last night at the Geek Dinner, the guy that doesn't know anyone or anything. Yeah, I just wanted to give you a call. He's like, what's the hotel you're staying at? I'm like, Hotel California. He's like, cool, I know that. That's 10 minutes away from me. I'm going to pick you up in 10 minutes. Hang up. I go out there. I'm nervous. I don't even know what's going to happen next. He picks me up. We go to a coffee shop. We sit down, and before we were able to sip on our cappuccinos, he's like, whoa, wait a second. Goes back to his car, brings up this massive camera equipment, sets up the camera, and goes, well, let me do an interview with you. Hits record and goes, who are you and what do you do here? What happened after that is an hour-long interview with Robert Scoble on my very second day in Silicon Valley. You can actually, if you search for that interview, you can find it. It's not easy to find on the web, thankfully, but you can find it. It's the most humbling interview of my life. 60 minutes, when I first watched it, it took me 6 hours to actually watch the video. Do you know these situations when you watch something and you feel so ashamed that you have to pause or stop or you can't look at it? That's how I felt watching that video. I looked like a fucking idiot, right? So I hit play and I was watching and pause. Play and pause. I didn't particularly find myself charming, charismatic, or even slightly intelligent. My English was horrible. I hate that video, but I watch it once a year just to humble myself. Besides that, the interview is over. Robert is super nice to me, and he asked me, hey, what's the plan for the rest of your day? And I go, dude, I don't have a plan for the rest of the year. Like, I really don't know what I'm doing next. He's like, well, I'm speaking at this event. It's called SF New Tech. It's a meetup. Do you want to come with me? I'm like, sure. So we go up to the city. We go to SF New Tech, and there's like 4 speakers. One of them is Robert Scoble. Big audience, 300, 400 people. And at the end of the event, they have a thing called 20-second soapbox, where almost anybody could pick up the mic in the audience and pitch the audience on something. Like, hey, I need an investor. I'm doing this startup. Who wants to invest in my company? Or, hey, we're looking for developers. If you're trying to get a new job, like everybody could just pitch the audience for 20 seconds on something. Again, I had this little asshole voice that went, wow, this is so exciting. I'm at this event, but I don't have anything to pitch. And my English is really bad. And let's not push life too much, right? You went out to this geek dinner, you met Robert Scoble, you're at this event, everything is going smoothly. Let's not fuck it up. Let's not do something too crazy. And then thankfully I had this other voice that said, shut the fuck up, dude. Do something. Pick up the mic. Say hi. Say you need friends. I'm like, that sounds like a cool idea. So I stand up. I stand in line. I pick up the mic. And I address the audience and I tell them, listen guys, this is my second day in the US. I just bought a one-way ticket and came here. I don't know anyone or anything about this industry. I want to build a massive tech startup. But more importantly, what I need most right now are friends. If you guys need a friend, a Greek friend from that grew up in Germany, come and say hi. And here's what happened next. At the end of the event, there were the 4 speakers surrounded by crowds that wanted to talk to them. And me, surrounded by the biggest crowd of people that wanted to talk to me. Out of the 400 people, I think 200 came to give me their business cards. There were people waiting for 10 minutes with their card because I was so crowded with people. And just went, Stelly, here's my card. Give me a call. For the next 4 weeks, all I did all day long is get in touch with all these amazing people that wanted to be friendly and friends with me, that wanted to show me around and help me get my start in Silicon Valley and get my start in the US. And that's what I did. That's where I made some of the most amazing friendships that 8 years later I still have. People helped me in incredible ways. And all it took for me is to show up. Just show up. I showed up in the US. I showed up in Silicon Valley at my hotel room. I showed up at the geek dinner. I showed up at the interview. And then I showed up at the event and picked up the mic, said hello, and that was an incredible start in my journey in Silicon Valley and in the US. And all it took is the guts to show up. And whenever I had this voice that told me, hey dude, slow down, take it easy, take a break, Don't push it too far. Stay home. Stay at the hotel room. Don't speak up. You don't have anything smart to say. Anytime I had that fear, that shame, I told myself to shut the fuck up and do it anyways. And did I always look smart and sophisticated? Did I look like somebody who knows what he's doing? No, I didn't, because I didn't, right? But it doesn't fucking matter. It was an incredible start in my journey. And the only difference between that start and sitting lonely, alone, and clueless in a hotel room was a voice, and was myself telling myself basically to shut the fuck up, to get up, and to show up. Because that's what life is all about at the end of the day.